Welcome, everybody. It is May 9th, 2024. 1 year ago today was the introduction of my guest, Mr. Morry Zelcovitch, who introduced the Morry Method. And I just thought it would be fitting that on this 1 year anniversary, we bring him back, try to recap some of the big moments that he has appeared on the show several times. And there, trust me, there were some key moments that he was very helpful to me and my family, as well as with his technology. I found him to be a very true influencer, especially in the fields of mental and neurological health. So this is going to be a combination of a return of the best of Morry. If you remember 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had done a retrospective of some of the shows that he appeared in. And then at the last minute, Morry came in and said, "Hey, I'm here." And I thought, well, no, let's make you a genuine comeback on the 1 year anniversary, not only to reflect on some of those key episodes one to one, talking about them. I'm not going to share any old clips or anything like that. We're just going to have an organic conversation. We'll walk through memory lane together, be frank about his experience on the show, what the experience and impact has been for me and my family. And also, he's going to introduce some new opportunities that are coming out in the next few weeks. So, this is a perfect opportunity to look at where we were 1 year ago and where we're going to be sooner than that. So, that all being said, am I going to issue a disclaimer? Well, out of formality, I will, but keep in mind any of the information being shared is all food for thought. They're not mentions of what you should or should not do for your neurological or brain health. They're not something you should go to your PCP about or your psychiatrist or your neurologist and start saying that Morry or myself had indicated this is what you need to do. We are not trying to dissuade you from your ongoing treatments if you have any. We're just giving you information for you to share comments on. Feel free to chat in our YouTube page, our Twitch page, even our LinkedIn page. And our engineer in the background will do what he can to get the question out live. And Morry or myself or both of us will try to answer it for you. So that all being said, the disclaimer basically says these are not the thoughts or views of TalkRadio.nyc or of Frank About Health. They are a conversation between Morry Zelcovitch and myself. And for that being said, Morry, welcome back. Happy anniversary. Thank you for all that you've done for the show as well as for myself.
Well, thank you, Frank. It's my absolute pleasure to be here as always. I feel like a part of the family.
That's the intention. And trust me, the way that you know about my recent technological expeditions, and one of the shows that we did, actually two of the shows that we've done together were on my mobile phone, and it seems to be the foolproof solution. So even though I was ready with a new computer, you know what? I work best with what works best with us. So here we are on a Samsung phone, Android, but it doesn't matter. Even if you're using your iPhone while watching this show, welcome. So, Morry, what can I say? 1 year ago, I was testing a different environment. I was testing the NYU Langone Health System, which proved for a good 50, 60 shows to be a good place. However, I'm moving forward with new venues, especially because I need better technology. However, you did talk about the Morry Method on that first show. Do you want to give everyone a recap of what the Morry Method is, as well as what you've been able to do to enhance it, or better yet, why you built it to begin with? Because if we all remember, it was because it was either that or continue to commit suicide because of your depression. And you obviously chose the better option. So, do you want to recap for everybody what that was like?
Sure. So basically, the creation of my methodology to help people was really a selfish construct. It was designed to help myself. I had gone through 40 years of deep, dark depression. And when it changed, it didn't go from deep, dark to better. It went from deep, dark to what I call super depression.
Uh,
And as Frank alluded to, I did try to end my life. As a matter of fact, 6 times that I can remember.
hmm.
Interestingly enough, though, it struck me that if I really wanted to die, one should have been enough. Of course, it took me 6 times to figure that out. So you can tell I wasn't exactly very smart. And yeah, I also wasn't very good at it. So, which turned out to be good because I used that information. If I couldn't find a way to die, I used that information to realize that I needed to find a way to live. So I tried the usual suspects. I won't go too in depth here, but I
Right.
tried, self-medicating myself with drugs and alcohol and women. Yes, women are a drug to a man anyway, or to women who like other women. So basically, it didn't help me. Isn't that strange that addiction didn't help me get better? I was
Hmm.
so sure it would, but it didn't. It actually made things worse. In the end, I decided to, well, not necessarily in the end, but in the middle, I decided, well, if addiction isn't going to help me, maybe I need doctors, clinicians, psychiatrists, that kind of thing.
Right.
They couldn't help me either. Keep in
Hmm.
mind that it's a downhill slope. Every time I thought something might help and it didn't help, and it kept taking me lower and lower, I
Right.
started feeling more and more confined, more and more like this is just life.
Yes.
I couldn't end my life, but I couldn't go on the way it was either. So it was a very bad place to be in.
Right.
I went from there into trying everything I could try. So I tried like different kinds of drugs, different kinds of alcohol, different kinds of medications. I tried devices. There's a lot of options out there if you're depressed, if you're sad. And
Hmm.
I tried everything. I tried technology. I tried, supplementation. I tried exercises. I tried something called EMDR. I tried tapping technologies and systems and methodologies, and nothing would help me. So at that point, I graduated, if you want to call it that, to thinking, well, just throwing stuff against the wall, nothing's sticking. Maybe I need to try to understand what's going on. So that's when I went to what I call the paper internet. And if anybody's out there and wants to type in what they think the paper internet was, you'd be right if you said library. If you don't know what a library is, then you're probably about 12 years old. But that's what the internet was. For all of you out there who don't know what a library basically was the internet before there was an internet.
Right.
Instead of us going on the web, we went on a bus and we went to a building where they had all these books and all these manuals and all these things there. So I
Right.
started studying things like neurology and quantum physics and perception and psychology, pretty much anything that I thought, might have something to do with my why I feel the way I feel.
Right.
And I started developing an understanding. And as I developed that understanding, I kept looking for ways to help myself. And eventually I came across this thing called brainwave entrainment, which
Hmm.
basically uses sound or imagery to alter brainwave activity. And by altering brainwave activity, that alters perception. It alters basically how we see and feel the world around us. It turns out that that's actually what brain chemistry, one of the many functions brain chemistry has, is to kind of be a code, if you will, almost like an app on your phone where you tap certain areas and you do different things and it gives you different results. Well, turns out your brain chemistry is functional in that sense too. It actually allows you to feel what you feel. So in my case, it was allowing me to feel horrible and desperate and sad, anxious and depressed.
Hmm.
But brainwave entrainment should have helped me to change that because it uses tones and light and experience to actually alter brainwave activity. The
Right.
problem was it didn't help me either.
Hmm.
And that was pretty much the end of my road. 40 years of research, brainwave entrainment was the last thing I found, and it didn't help either. But I thought something nagged at me, and it wasn't my wife. It was actually me nagging at myself. And it told me that maybe I need to reinvent the wheel here. Maybe there's something missing in this technology that didn't exist that needs to exist. In my view, nature is about evolution. It's about change.
Right.
Really, they're synonymous, evolution and change. So I started changing it. And when I started changing the technology and I tried it then, all of a sudden I started feeling better.
Hmm.
And since then, I've just been working and I can't stop getting ideas. The ideas just flow. I've gone from being someone who wanted to be dead forever to someone who wants to live forever.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good. Well, you know what? I'm listening to your story again, and I know that we've talked about it on other episodes that you've done, and it's very interesting how while one part of your brain was trying to end your life, another part was trying to save your life by doing the ongoing search.
Yeah.
Now brain entrainment became a solution which you've now grown leaps and bounds with, but it just shows you that the reason why you needed entrainment is because already, I guess in your case, and correct me if I'm wrong, your wiring was already skewed or there were deficits based on, I don't know if it was traumas or if it was genetics or if it was something else that was going on with your brain chemistry because, in honor of brain health, well, mental health awareness month, which this is, I guess, did you discover when you discovered brain entrainment that your own brain itself, even if the doctors were not helping and the addiction was not helping, just needed reprogramming? I mean, most people don't see that they are in control of their brain. I do believe you are, but you just have to find out that secret key or that secret code that tells you, wait a minute, I'm in charge, you're not. So how did you finally realize that brain entrainment, while your last option was the only option? What inside you or in your brain made you see that it was about your brain saying, I need help?
My brain just kept telling me, my mind just kept telling me that this was the key, and yet it wasn't working. So there was a conflict there. But I really didn't have any choice. So if my brain kept saying, this is what you need, and yet the stuff I was finding online and out there wasn't working for me, it kind of made me think, well, what if, you know, I mean, I feel like giving up because I've been looking for 40 years and I finally hit what I thought was the last thing
Right.
and it didn't help. But it struck me that I just have this real feeling that it should be helping me. And
Right.
somehow something snapped in my head like snapping fingers. It just suddenly became clear that it should help. I've got this gut feeling it will help, but it's
Yes.
not helping in its present state. And
Yeah.
that's when I started thinking, well, maybe I need to change it. Maybe my
Right.
40 years of depression wasn't a waste of time. Maybe it wasn't punishment. Maybe it was something that was designed from the very beginning to give me the background I needed in order to make things different, make things better. And not just for myself, but for others.
Essentially, basically, a part of your brain had probably spent 40 years being inactivated, and yet your intuition was still going strong to be that bridge to find out that this brain entrainment solution that you dubbed the Morry Method was the solution that fit your case. And I guess it served as a primer for everything else that you've built since then. Is that safe to say?
That's pretty safe to say. Yeah. It really comes down to evolution again, change. The technology, from what I had seen, really hadn't changed since it was first conceived. And that,
Amazing.
I think, was the uncomfortable part for me. And when I finally realized that, I did what I needed to do to change it. And as I changed it, my world around me seemed to change as well.
Awesome. Well, we're about to take our first break, and I'm going to now cover another episode that we did together, which I think was two episodes after your first appearance. It was called Energizing Your Mind to Energize Your Life. And if you recall, it was talking about my cousin and her bout with dementia bordering on Alzheimer's. And some events happened this past week that I want to share with you to show how what you taught me back at that episode actually helped me in doing what I need to do to potentially find a facility for her in the near term or long term, depending on what other results come out in the near future. So, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Frank About Health, we are welcoming Morry to his 1 year anniversary on the show. He
Oh,
is definitely a true influencer in brain health, neurological brain entrainment. Please check out his website, themorrymethod.com. Check out the samples of his sound files and quantum video files that I have used to help with my mother's sleep problems. I've tried using and understanding how to control Alzheimer's, but more importantly, when you use them, you can see how you can take charge of your brain. That is the hidden message in all of this. Learn and hone your intuition and train your brain to think the way you want to have a better quality of life. Right here on TalkRadio.nyc, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. We will be back in a few.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on TalkRadio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on TalkRadio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on TalkRadio.nyc.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on TalkRadio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back. This is segment 2, welcoming Morry to 1 year on Frank About Health. Being that I'm doing this from my home and on my phone, I decided to be a little creative. Every segment, I will have a different scene. Right now, I'm sitting in a nice, comfortable lazy boy chair because I'm going to get one-on-one with Morry about my cousin and her brain health. It is a retrospective on the episode we did together called Energizing Your Mind to Energize Your Life. But thanks to the conversation that we had, which hopefully Morry and I will be able to recall, I'm going to show the actions that I took with my cousin this past Tuesday when we met with her neurologist to get the official diagnosis of dementia. So that being said, Morry, when we talked about that, I know you were also talking about, I think it was your father who also had Alzheimer's. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then I remember you mentioned about how the sound files that you created, if you could remind me what the title of that file was, it was basically to help reduce the amyloid protein buildup in the neurons.
Actually, in the neurons, it's called tau tangles. It's
Okay.
the outside the neurons is called beta amyloid protein. So these are just things that gum up the works and get in the way of the electrical transmissions between, the messaging, really.
Right.
It makes it difficult to access memory and things like that. But
Right.
yeah, my father, I mean, Alzheimer's didn't kill him, but Alzheimer's led him to his death because it made him forget things that he couldn't do.
Right.
And he fell one too many times, and that was it.
Understood. And I know basically that, everyone hears the word Alzheimer's and they think it's a fait accompli or that it's going to be the thing that ends you. But yet there are medications out there that slow the progression of it. And yet in some cases, like in the case of my cousin, it's not even Alzheimer's, or at least the way people know it to be, especially when what was discovered over the past year of doing my caregiving for her, that she was basically smoking cigarettes nonstop to the point of reducing the oxygen to her brain, probably shrinking the temporal lobes on both sides. and showing increasing blood pressure when she would be denying that she's doing the cigarette smoking. Now, obviously, whatever habits or stress that was provoking the smoking is one aspect of it, but she was basically providing her own dementia. Now, that would be a difference between that typical Alzheimer's buildup that grows on the brain, as seen on MRIs and other CAT scans. But in this particular case, what it does show is that when you have tobacco poisoning or some form of oxygen debt to the brain due to the ingestion of smoke or vaping, even for all that could be considered, you could be not only helping to speed up dementia, but you're also helping to trigger Alzheimer's, because tobacco can lead to Alzheimer's disease as well. So in all the research that I've done, starting with you and trying to implement those sound files onto her, but she completely take off the headphones and say it was distracting her. But it at least helped me when I needed to keep myself focused. So I was able to use that for myself in understanding her case and doing the right caregiving, the right research, the right doctors to see. And thankfully, we were able to get her a primary care assistant, or PCA. I think that's patient care advocate or patient care assistant. It's typically a nurse. And she was the one that actually met with her. My cousin's name, by the way, is Gladys, so I will just be open about that at this point. And she was able to pinpoint that while she had increasing dementia and she was given two powerful drugs that slowed it, because it could have been worse now without those medications. It was definitely not seen as Alzheimer's disease. So the way I looked at it is, oh, there's a longer lifespan, longer life potential, but could potentially end because of another circumstance similar to, as you mentioned, your father, all the falls and stuff like that. Now, this past Tuesday, I was actually looking for that official diagnosis from the neurologist, because I found a program that can put her in daycare that would allow her to go home at night, so she can have someone monitor her normal motor functioning and her safety, while at the same time her forgetfulness is now at the point where she can visualize who the president is, but the name escapes her, or she doesn't know what day or year it is. And it has gotten worse to the point where when I was with her, I thought I was with a 12-year-old. But, it is what it is. And understanding what it is like when you found out about your own brain needing entrainment. Knowledge is power. So there's more confidence in how to approach it, rather than, oh, why did this have to happen? And this is it's upsetting the family, as it would, but at least there's information sharing now. And I want to thank you for that, Morry. So the thing is that as a result, I was able to come to the conclusion that, okay, the dementia diagnosis was provided, but the version of it, Alzheimer's, Lewy body dementia, tobacco poisoning, if that's even a diagnosis, I have no idea. The only way to find that out is to go ahead and see her primary care physician in June, which is for her annual visit, and have that person suggest an MRI and a CAT scan and come up with what version is it and what is the appropriate daycare or long-term care that she's going to get for it until the eventual time happens. So that being said, my story echoes yours in the following way. We own the phrase, knowledge is power. It provides us to use whatever resources that we have to get the information that we seek to do what we can, given certain limitations. But as we will talk about later on in the show, I could say that AI also helped, so what I'm trying to figure out, though, is that what would you say that even though I have myself a work in progress with my cousin, with less stress, because at least I know what I'm dealing with, what has been the functional limitation that everyone is faced with when it comes to their own brain health? Is it a lack of desire to seek the truth, or is it something else, based on your own opinions?
Keeping in mind, this is only my opinion.
Right. That's
and I'm
your
not
disclaimer.
a doctor. That's it. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV or on New York radio, for that matter. Okay. the thing is, a lot of people, and I hear this all the time, they don't want to know. It's
Yep.
better to not know and then just to have it happen. But the thing is, I understand it's uncomfortable to know, but with what's happening, and we'll talk about AI and other knowledge bases in the next segment, but there are things that can be done. You mentioned smoking could be an issue. Drinking is also an issue. My dad, we had to install cameras in his condo so we could check on him because for a
Mm,
long time he was still functional.
right.
And he would go to the cabinet and he would pour himself a shot of scotch or a vodka like a couple times an hour. Drinking
Wow.
and smoking are two things that, let's face it, we don't really know a lot about
Hmm.
dementia. We don't really know a lot about Alzheimer's disease. And one thing we are finding, though, is that smoking and drinking don't help.
Mm,
And they actually can speed things up and make it much worse,
exactly.
which is tough because it's not a comfortable thing for an individual to know that their mind is going on them. And that causes stress and anxiety.
Right.
And let's face it, a lot of people use smoking and drinking to cope with stress and anxiety.
Hmm.
So if we can come up with something else and use it early enough, my dad comes from an era of bars in offices.
Hmm.
Literally, it was not uncommon to seal a deal with a drink or a series of drinks, or to take clients to bars and restaurants and get them drunk to help them sign a paper. So,
Right.
but he wasn't drinking a lot. He wasn't smoking a lot. And then all of a sudden he started smoking again and started drinking again. And
Wow.
part of the problem with dementias is that we lose track of time and what time of life it is too. So we don't know. I mean, I remember he used to ask about his sister and his mom,
Hmm.
and they were gone for 10, 20 years.
Wow. That kind of leads me to one of the other questions I had while we were sitting with the neurologist, and she's basically failing every memory question. Here we are mentioning publicly in front of her the words Alzheimer's and dementia. Do you think that even though they're not processing it at full capacity, that they even know the word Alzheimer's or dementia, or do you think they know inside that that's what's happening, and that's just adding to their internal stress, or maybe they really Alzheimer's could be known as the word umbrella? I mean, what would you say could be happening? Do you have
Anything.
any insight?
I would
Anything?
say anything could be happening. I used to feel bad when the doctor would talk about Alzheimer's with my dad right there,
Right.
but I'm not sure he was processing it the way you process it or the way I process it. And the thing is, I still say knowing is better because I believe as long as there's breath, there's hope. And with technology and with even just common sense, there are things that can be done, I believe, to slow it and maybe even stop it. There are techniques and technologies out there now. There's even doctors who have come up with ways. I was written up in a book called The End of Alzheimer's by Dr. Dale Bredesen, and I strongly suggest to anyone who's out there and gets a diagnosis, looks for
Yes.
it because there's things that we do that might be making our lives worse and might even be bringing on signs of these things. And, there's lots of people who, I know we're going to a break in a second, but there's a lot
Right.
of people out there who are thought to have, come back and defeated cancer and
Hmm.
AIDS and all kinds of things, maybe even Alzheimer's. And in some cases, I think they have. And in other cases, I think that they were misdiagnosed.
Hmm.
So, y'all, you got to fight, man. Everybody needs to fight. And knowing there's
Yes.
something to fight for and against is a motivator.
Correct. Now, before we go to break, you did say offline what the test I should be looking for. Can you say publicly again, for my cousin when she meets her PCP, what is the test to determine Alzheimer's versus any other type of dementia?
There's tests out there, but that's better left to a doctor to
Okay.
decide which is best. I don't want to put a thought into people's heads and
Okay,
then,
fair.
be an authority. I think it's really important that a doctor who suspects any kind of cognitive issues, that they suggest and they prescribe someone to see a neurologist, and the neurologist will know the appropriate test that would
Okay.
help to diagnose the appropriate treatments.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, when we get back in segment 3, we're going to recap AI in healthcare, the episode that Morry and I did together during Cardiac Awareness Month. I'm not wearing my red sweater this time because it's actually hot in here, but at least we'll be able to recap that and also show again how his appearance on the show had served practicality for me on another case, which is my father, another person that a lot of my listeners and viewers know that I've been doing caregiving for. And thanks to your lessons on AI, I was able to help him with some recent diagnoses. So when we return right here on Frank About Health, we're continuing celebrating Morry's anniversary on the show, and right here on TalkRadio.nyc and all of our socials. We'll be back in a few.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on TalkRadio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on TalkRadio.nyc.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on TalkRadio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on TalkRadio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
All right, everybody, we're at segment 3 from my living room. Basically, we're at the AI segment of the show. If you recall, back in February during Cardiac Awareness Month, Morry gave a webinar on heart health and AI. And if this was on my computer, I would be showing you a clip from that show where he started talking about brain health and AI. But instead, I think, Morry, you're in the position to share some of that if you want to, or if you can. I don't want to distract you from your computer at the moment, but I do want to discuss about AI's influence in things like diagnosis, in brain health, in some of the things that have happened with my father's case, or even just in general, anything you want to share.
Okay, thank you. So here's a tool. Everyone's heard a lot about AI, and I did mention in the other show about an app called Perplexity. So it can be downloaded on an iOS phone, Apple phone, or on an Android phone, like a Samsung or any other Android-based phone. And what it does is it's an amazing research tool. The thing about AI is incredibly valuable, because it's going to help change the world at lightning speed. As a matter of fact, there's been a recent breakthrough in AI for medical research. And medical researchers will now be able to literally, check out this. This is like Star Trek and beyond. They are now going to be able to basically test chemical combinations medicines, okay? New ideas for cures or possible cures. And they will be able to run it through a special AI, and they'll be able to tell how cells and cell structures will react to the medicine. They'll be able to tell if it's dangerous, if it's effective. Quite literally, they will be able to tell if something might be able to cure something in advance of even producing it. And the beautiful thing is, not everybody is the same. So AI is going to be able to help people and doctors and researchers to literally input specific conditions, states, cellular structures that are unique to individuals and create custom medicines to help with various events and various illnesses and various, especially things like with respect to cancers. It's just blowing me away what's capable. And when we spoke the first time about AI, it was crazy already what they were capable of. The capabilities now have gone up 100-fold or 1,000-fold compared to how they were back then. And the whole point is that I would like people to understand is that when we actually combine the knowledge that we have now, the understandings that we have now, by the time I'm finished stating the potential and the possibilities, it's already gone up 1,000-fold.
Right.
I know it sounds kind of silly to say that by the time I finish telling you how great AI can be for this and this and the other thing, they've already made more advancements, because it's not just people working on AI. It's now people using AI to evolve AI and make it that much better. As an example, I don't know, can people see my screen?
Yes. It says
Okay.
ask anything.
Right. So this is a window for Perplexity. Perplexity is a research. It's kind of like Google on hypersteroids. It's like Google from Krypton. This is a job for Perplexity.
Yes.
Okay. And
Yes.
it's just incredible. So we can ask it anything. We can say, can AI help me to understand? Can AI teach me how to type better? That would probably be a really good thing. But can AI help me to understand its potential value to medicine, science, psychology? The nice thing is it corrects spelling as well.
Oh, great.
So
Yes.
psychology and literally evolution. Don't even evolution. Just something generalized. Now, you see, I left the spelling wrong because I wanted to make sure. So here's a cool thing. Perplexity, unlike just anything, asks me more questions. So do I want to know about AI applications? Definitely. AI research? Definitely. Impact? Definitely. I can even put other things in. So how about what it's saying? AI limitations too, because it's important to know the limitations. So then we hit enter, and it takes advantage of everything we've asked, and now it's coming up with an answer. So first of all, it gives you some sources of where it's getting this information from. So there's 17, 20 different sources that it's pulling all this information from. To give you an idea, I'm not going to read everything, but it holds transformative potential across various fields, including medicine, science, psychology, even our understanding of evolution. Its applications range from enhancing diagnostic accuracy, treatment in healthcare, to advancing medical methodologies, improving mental health interventions, and offering insights into evolutionary processes. And then it goes through medicine, science, because these are the ones we asked, right? Psychology, evolution. Keep in mind, these are general things. What if we used AI? What if we used Perplexity specifically to help us with our personal issues.
Right.
You can even say, hey, like here, it's saying here, like, ask a follow-up. The beautiful thing is it gives you follow-up questions anyway. But what if I
Wow.
said, can you help me with some ideas to feel better emotionally?
Nice.
I'm a little down today. And I leave the spelling errors in because I want to show you
Right.
that it doesn't matter. It doesn't judge. So here we are. I'm sorry to hear you're feeling down. What type of activities help to improve your mood? Well, for me, it's exercise, meditation. Music can help too. It makes people feel better. Oh,
Yes.
talking to a friend. That's an interesting idea. Creative
Yes.
activities. Sure. Why not just pick everything? If there's something else that makes me feel better, here, let's put in something here. Okay. Like, let's even say drinking alcohol. Okay.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I think in my head, right? I think
Yeah.
that it makes me feel better. So let's see what it says for all of this. Just to give you an idea, okay? Because
Right.
I suspect, I'm sorry you're feeling down today. It's important to acknowledge your feelings and take steps toward health care and self-care. So it's going to go through the things that it suggested. So exercise, taking a brisk walk to a nearby park in your neighborhood. It's giving me ideas, right?
Right.
Meditation, listening to music, talking to a friend, creative activities, drawing or painting, writing. Now, watch what it says. Regarding alcohol, while it might seem like drinking can temporarily lift your mood, it's important to be cautious as it can also lead to increased feelings of sadness and anxiety over time. Focusing on activities to promote long-term wellness is generally more beneficial.
Very nice.
Okay. Remember, it's okay to have days when you feel down, taking small steps towards. It's literally helping you in that respect.
The way that it worked for me recently is that my father was experiencing edema on his foot.
Mhm.
And with the knowledge that he has already been surviving cancer after a couple years of taking these medications that have basically contained his tumor and not allow it to metastasize, it's unfortunate that 4 years of that creates triggers. So anything like a swollen foot all of a sudden is an emergency room visit waiting. I went into perplexity and I said, I have a patient who is a cancer survivor currently suffering from swelling on his foot. Can you describe if this is another disorder or if it's related? It went through a whole breakdown of stuff saying that it is typical for anyone, especially at this patient's age, to go through venous insufficiency. And in order to verify that, it would be wise to take to a doctor to just test for it. By the way, he has his appointment for that test tomorrow, and the swelling has gone down. The psychological component, the fact that it was upsetting for him and my mother, continued to exacerbate the swelling. And with constant Tylenol, which I provided as a painkiller, if anything, helped. But after I'd given all the information to the doctor on a telehealth session, he said to me, you made an excellent diagnosis for your father. And I said, I can't take the credit. I have to give it to Perplexity.
Well, you
But
know what?
all of
That's funny because I had the same thing happen with my foot. I hurt my knee recently, the last couple of months. It's been taking a
yes.
long time to heal. The first month and a half, I didn't exercise at all. I barely walked. I did a lot of
Oh wow.
Zoomers. And I
Yes.
had the same thing. My foot started swelling and I got worried. What's going on? What's going on? I typed it into Perplexity. It said, look, you should go see a doctor to get checked out, but it's very likely that your lack of activity combined with a lot of sitting was causing a problem with your circulation. As a matter of fact, I learned from Perplexity that walking around actually gets the muscles moving in the legs and that pumps blood back to the heart. This is a
Yes.
natural thing that everybody has. But if you stop moving, it hinders that ability. And the
Correct.
doctor told me the same thing your doctor told you. Good diagnosis. And I also thank Perplexity.
But either way, what I'm pointing out is in the first three segments of the show, we talked about your situation, my cousin's situation, and now my father's situation.
Yeah.
And we know that the tools that you've created, the tools that AI is creating, and just the whole nature of owning this mass that's up here and being more proactive with it can actually make those chronically ill conditions or those previously stressful conditions livable, accommodating, manageable, less stress induced, but more aware of what you're dealing with rather than feeling like you have a guillotine over your head that you don't know when it's going to drop. And
Yeah.
so when we come back after the next break, I want you to talk about how you've managed in the past year since you were first on the show to take all of your own intellect that saved you from eventually killing yourself, as well as helped you look at your father's case and everything else you just said about your foot, and what you're going to do on a much more professional level going forward. I know you have a little something to introduce, so I'm kind of setting up the stage for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me continue to celebrate Morry Zelcovitch having been on this show 1 year ago. And after the last 45 minutes of review, we're now ready for the future. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a few.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Broncu, host of The Hard Skills on TalkRadio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on TalkRadio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on TalkRadio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on TalkRadio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on TalkRadio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Hey everybody, I'm back where the show began, right in front of my computer that is not working for tonight's broadcast, but my phone is, so thank you, Android. That being said, Morry, we've just had a nice 45-minute review, not only of your appearances on Frank About Health, but also how both you and I were able to make the best of the knowledge that we shared with each other. And we've had a competitor along the way, and it's AI. However, it's been our ally. And I think we just like we had to get on top of our own brain health, or in my case, my father's edema and my cousin's brain health. We all have to get on top of AI to make it our companion and not our challenger, which has been the fear that everyone has when it comes to AI. But we do know that with regulations in healthcare, there's probably more safety in using AI in the healthcare space. And I guess that being said, I want you to now take the time to show how you're going to be doing just that, not only with your brain entrainment programs, but also with all the other stuff that you had mentioned to me is going to benefit a lot of people in the professional sports world, I guess.
Sure. Well, this isn't just about sports. So
Okay.
the whole thing is it's very evolutionary, the kind of work I do. See, the brain is unlimited, I believe. It's a muscle and it can get stronger. I don't think there's any limit. There's no ceiling to what humankind can achieve when it, thinks, when it's using its head. So one of the new areas and avenues that I was asked to delve into in the last couple of years, and I have since created, is peak performance. So super productivity, super performance. And that gave birth to what you see on the screen right now, Mind Trainer Pro. So with Mind Trainer Pro, it's basically designed to rev up, if you couldn't get the joke there with revving up, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So revving up peak performance, our ability to perform, our ability to succeed, our ability to increase our abilities, quite literally. So with Mind Trainer Pro, which is about ready to launch in about a week, probably, maybe a few days. Basically, we talk about peak performance, we talk about brainwave entrainment, and then we introduce people to our first evolutionary product line, which is really developing the brain's ability to peak perform, because that's basically the same for everything. It's really just changing certain factors, certain parts that focus in on what we actually want to progress with and what we want to perform with. So we're starting off with business. Believe it or not, you can peak perform in business. You can peak perform in sales. Quantum is talking about the smallest bits, the most basic areas, and building up from there to become a peak performer in almost anything. Athletics, wellness, even pickleball. Actually, that's what started the whole idea. People were telling me, oh, pickleball is going crazy in the United States. It's absolutely going nuts. Can you create a system that would be effective to help people excel at pickleball? And I said, well, I can create a system that will help people to excel at anything. Because again, the ability to excel is similar in everything. It's just a matter of focusing on specific areas. So as an example, let's go with pickleball. So people with pickleball, want to elevate their performance. They want to be better at it. And pickleball is not like tennis. Well, it's similar to tennis, but it's on a much smaller scale. It's not as hard on the body. People of all ages can do it. You don't have to be, 15 years old or 20 years old to do pickleball. As a matter of fact, a lot of seniors do pickleball because it's a great way to stay in shape. It's social. There's a lot of great things about it. So when we talk about pickleball, we talk about different things that we can do to become better at it. So as an example, let's go into the Pickleball Mind Trainer Pro area of membership. And basically what happens is we introduce people to why the brain is such an important aspect to anything and to sport in general and pickleball specifically. And we talk about that. We give people instructions on what they can do. And then we move into what they need to do to prepare to be able to use brainwave entrainment technologies to help themselves be better. There's the standard listening protocols. So these are special motivational and optimizing brainwave frequencies that have been shown to help people. People who peak perform, if you measure their brainwave activity, these are the dominant states. There's triliminals, which help to reprogram negative reflexive thought processes.
Right.
There's even training videos which use a new technology called VI, which stands for Visual Image Entrainment. And I'll give you a little bit of an idea of what that is. That particular one is more advanced. So let's go here. And this will give you a better idea of what it is. So actually, people will be hearing specific sounds that entrain the brain along with the visual and the colors here, which entice and create a special frequency in the brain and condition in the brain that will help them to peak perform. And as you can see, these are images with respect to pickleball.
Right.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. And what happens is these things actually work to increase performance. There's accelerated learning techniques so people can apply educational learning techniques to becoming better at pickleball and in better condition to deal with pickleball. There's Brain Health GPS, which helps us with diet, movement, stress reduction, sleep. Sleep is so important to overall mental health. And then,
Yeah,
of course, there's
absolutely.
bonuses because we want people to be able to perform even better. So we give them certain things that the main system doesn't include extra. So this is one example of how brain health and brain training can really make anything in your life better. The thing is,
Awesome.
everything has to pass through your brain in order to be better anyway.
Yes.
So why not train the brain how to be better and then allow us to zoom in or focus in on specific techniques that can help us to do better. If we're doing better, we feel better. If we
Right.
sleep better, our waking hours are better. That's
Right.
really how it works. Now, I will stop sharing my screen because I wanted to let you know that there have been lots of studies also that work and show that if someone can imagine themselves exercising,
Mm-hmm.
they will actually experience the effect of exercising even just by visualizing or imagining it. There was a study done in a hotel chain where two locations, one of them, the cleaning staff was told that what they do in their cleaning, the stretching, the bending over, the vacuuming, the making of the beds, the cleaning of the mirrors, all these things actually constitute exercise,
Hmm.
cardio, strength, core, all these different things. And
Yeah.
the other location wasn't told anything. And
Wow.
within a certain amount of time after they were retested, the group that was told their work constituted exercise were stronger, faster, more resilient.
Amazing.
It
Is that
actually
what you were
works.
alluding to earlier in terms of workouts?
Yeah. So I've created a system and it will be ready probably in another couple of weeks. And then we have to create a page for it and everything else. But it's called Quantum Mind Workouts. And it takes
Nice.
advantage of my triliminal technology, which is a special kind of technology that reprograms thought processes by giving command structures and brainwave entrainment in the left ear for the right hemisphere, in the right ear for the left hemisphere, in the center for both, and then
Right.
special brain frequencies to elicit certain responses in the brain. And then a guided meditation with brainwave entrainment, where I actually will be guiding you through imagining, visualizing, different exercise routines in 5 different areas, including yoga, core, strength, cardio, that will allow the human who listens to this to
Mhm.
actually increase their physical well-being and their physical really effects of exercise without actually exercising. Initially, the idea was to be used with people who have physical issues, like maybe they're elderly and they can't move like
Mhm.
they used to. Maybe they're quadriplegic or, they have
Right.
different issues that stop them from physically exercising to help
Hmm.
them get that physical exercise psychologically, which shows that it does have a physiological effect.
Right.
And this system will be available within the next couple of months, I would expect. We just have to get the written parts down. But I'm
Yeah.
almost done the creation aspect, and there's 5 different areas of physical fitness that we're dealing with here. And I'm really proud of this because this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And because of AI, and I'm not going to tell you how I used AI because then I'd have to kill you. But because of AI, it has made the process possible and
Yes.
possible much faster.
Well, we're actually over the time to clock out, but I wanted you to get everything through. Ladies and gentlemen, I can just say that having Morry Zelcovitch being part of Frank About Health this past year has been a gift to me. Thank you again, Sam, for introducing me to him back in May of 2023. At the same time, we're all facing the AI revolution together. I'm going to do what I can on Frank About Health. Probably the next 6 episodes of the remaining season, I'll be touching upon it, but trust me, in the fall, I'm going to have more AI integration with the show. Again, Morry, I intend for us to be more involved together. And I just want to thank everybody for tuning in on all of our social media and on Talk Radio. The slate of shows tomorrow is Always Friday and Philanthropy in Focus. On Tuesday, it's the Hard Skills and the Happy Spot. On Thursday, it's the Conscious Consultant Hour, Body, Mind, Politics, and Health. Then me. I'll be back again next week. Thank you, Morry. As you can see, it's time for us to clock out, but I will be giving you a call probably within the hour. So I just want to go ahead and thank you again for the past year and beyond. And I will be looking into those programs that you just showed to everybody.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much. I'm honored to have been asked to be here for this and for everything. You are all wonderful people here at New York Talk Radio.
All righty. Thanks again. We're signing off, everybody. Thanks for attending today's show, and we'll see you soon.